Welcome to the Go Pitch Win podcast, the show where entrepreneurs pitch their best business ideas to our industry leaders. Each week, one will move forward towards the grand prize, $10,000. One winner. So get ready. And now, here's your host, Greg Mercer.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Go Pitch Win. I'm your host, Greg Mercer, and I am joined by guest judge Mike Jackness. Mike's been in e-commerce since 2013 and runs 4 different brands: Ice Wraps, Color It, Wild Baby, and Tactical.com. He's on track to do 8 figures in 2018 and somehow manages to find the time to blog, podcast, and document his journey at ecomcrew.com. Mike, we're excited to have you on.
Thanks for doing this with me, man. I really appreciate it. I really been looking forward to this.
Oh yeah, we're going to have a blast. And pitching their idea today is Garrison and Shay from the Mason Jar Handle. How are you guys doing?
Wonderful. Doing great, guys. Thanks for having us.
We're really excited to hear more about the Mason Jar Handle. And with that being said, let's not waste any time. Why don't you go ahead and dive into it?
It's time for today's business idea.
So we're here to talk with you about the Mason Jar Handle, which relates to a very iconic product, an iconic piece of drinkware. The Mason jar was invented in the 1800s by this gentleman right here, John Landis Mason. If you drink hot or cold drinks out of a Mason jar, you're going to burn your hands. You're going to get them wet with condensation. And they make, of course, jars with handles, as I'm sure plenty of people have seen. They make jars with handles, but you can't really can with those. But there's a tremendous market out there of people who purchase jars and drink with jars. There's just a couple shots from Amazon where you can see this is a product. Mason jars in general and their accessories sell thousands a week. Their sales velocity is pretty incredible for a product that's been around for a couple hundred years. There are already millions of canning jars in homes across the country, and it would be great if you could use those to drink out of and also can with. And it'd be nice if you could add a little bit of personalization to them too. We invented a product that does that enables that, I should say. And it's the world's first patented screw-on jar handle. And it's really this new experience with this 100-year-old, multi-100-year-old product. And it makes it possible to use these jars to drink hot and cold beverages out of. And it's also really easy to personalize and customize, as you can see there by some of those shots.
Right. So I manage the personalization, and this is a great business promotional item. All of these companies that are currently giving away Yetis with their logo or their brand on it, they're going to be looking for a new product to be able to brand, to get their company to stick in their customers' minds. And the only thing as prevalent, I think, out there as Yeti mugs are Mason jars. When Garrison came home from deployment to Iraq in 2011, we started working on this project with my dad and uncle. We are all metal sculptors. We have 3 generations of welders, including myself, in our family. And we like drinking cold whiskey and hot coffee. And so we created this mass producible product using these jars that we already had on hand that would allow us to do that.
So when we've gotten back, we're trying to build out this concept a little bit. We decided to patent it. And so we went through that process, which is a heck of a process in and of itself. And we got some assistance from the University of Pennsylvania Intellectual Property Law Clinic to develop our intellectual property protection strategy, which is actually pretty robust. We were assigned a student for a semester to help us work on troubleshooting our patent and making sure that it was as airtight as we hoped it would be, and it's pretty robust. This year, we've taken our product to market, and having a product that you can sell online was especially important to us because traveling from town to town, I mean, you show up at an Army base, and the next thing you know, you're there for at most a couple years. One of those years you might be overseas, then you come back, and then the next thing you know, you're back on the road again, moving to the next town, and it's nice when you're able to take the hard work that you've put in, you're able to take that reputation that you've established and bring it with you to the next place when you move to the next town. So having an online product made it possible for us to carry our reputation and our hard work with us wherever we went. it's kind of the ultimate piece of continuity. It's really great for that.
Yeah, for both of us.
Yeah.
In our different roles in the military and supporting. So how it works, to give you a little bit of an explanation on the detail itself. So the mason jar handle, as is being produced in the photos you see, it really works really simply. It just clicks right onto the edge of the jar and then twists, and that's everything. And the handles themselves are made of, very sturdy, are made of brute grade stainless steel. And as I mentioned, they are customizable through laser etching, powder coating, epoxy, screen printing, all different variations of color and logos. And right now, depending on the market, shipping, and the finish, we're selling them anywhere between $10 up to $18.
So what you're looking at there in that picture is part of our manufacturing process. We manufacture part of the product in China and we finish it in the United States. We actually finish them in Tulsa. And we feel, I feel like we could be a poster child for experiencing difficulty in trying to move a product overseas to get it manufactured. We started this before the $1 million case study.
Yeah.
And when we started it, I wish that the case study had been around because it could have saved us months. I remember, it could have saved us more than months. It probably could have saved us a year. It was a really brutal intro. I remember the day our first manufacturing run of these arrived on the doorstep in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I got home from work first and I wanted to wait for him to cut them open. And I called him and he said, no, just cut them open. Let's see. And I'm on the phone with him and I slash the box and I can tell immediately that they're wrong, and very wrong. It was amazing.
The threading, it almost looked like the threading had been, we've approved the samples. I've gone through a vendor that I'd found on a typical platform, and the threading was like, it was
like a wound up coat hanger.
It was like a coat hanger. It was about the size of it was like the size of just, I don't know, a softball, and it was just this coat hanger coiled up. It was a nightmare.
So continuing on with our future growth plan, we're growing now. We're pursuing corporate customization. We're doing already really well by that here locally, and we're planning on some big growth in that space this year through local developments in relationships that we have here, but we are definitely missing a huge segment of the population.
Yeah, our direct-to-consumer sales are, right now we're using our website, but they're minimal, and we know we're not even coming close to tapping that market. And it's obvious that I should say vending direct to consumers over Amazon will be just a life changer for us. Our product appeals to so many people, not just businesses, but it appeals to people who care about their environmental impact because it's reusable. It appeals to anybody who cares about healthy drinking ware. Obviously, there's no BPA. It's just glass and stainless steel. Mm-hmm. And it appeals to anybody who's a little bit country or hipster, or just anybody who's looking for something a little unique in their drinkware. And Michael, I know you have experience in the prepping space with your online platforms. We come from a family of canners, and that was to some degree driven by a desire to be prepared. Mm-hmm. This is the perfect prepping accessory because if you have jars, you have something to drink out of, you can heat stuff in the jar, you can screw it on. If your glasses break, you can just switch them right out.
The heat transfer is minimal.
Yeah.
We have tons of campers that really like this product, that find it really functional and easy to carry with them.
Yeah. So this is just making our product an FBA product and going through the steps to optimize our listing. That would just be huge for us when it comes to placing our product online.
And we would love to stop touching every single one of these handles and start stocking our product in an Amazon warehouse. Looking around in the tour, you can see we've got jars here. We've got all of our tools here. We manage every single millimeter of this product right now, and we would love the opportunity to get away from that. Yeah. It was a great learning experience, and now it's time for a new chapter.
So the prize from this competition would enable us to finalize our packaging and do the right type of research and the right pay-per-click campaigns and Google AdWords research and really optimize our listing. And we also have a ton of split testing we want to do, because I just mentioned all those different markets or those different types of people that our product appeals to, but we have to figure out exactly what our beachhead is. And doing some good split testing will enable us to do that. And this money will make it possible for us to get our product into the hands of users on platforms like JumpSend. We'll be able to give away some merchandise and really stack up reviews, because we're creating this entirely new category of item. Ours is the only item really in the category. It's mason jar handles. This is screw-on mason jar handles. That's it. So getting good reviews is that much more critical, because no one's ever seen anything like this before. So that's our product pitch. And with that, we need your guys' help, and we would love to know what we can do to win your support.
Nice job. I love the passion and enthusiasm that you guys bring to this. I can tell you put a lot of love and sweat into it. Thank you for sending me mine. I'm drinking out of it right now. I like the Jungle Scout etching. That's very nice. So where do you guys live right now?
We live in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay, in Tulsa still. Cool. So then you said part of this is being manufactured in China. Does the rest of it happen at your house? Or explain to me a little bit more your kind of like the production line.
The actual handle portion of the product, that tongue piece of metal, is manufactured in China. We were trying to find manufacturers in the States.
We probably spent almost 2 years trying to find a manufacturer,
and could not find anybody who could do it at a cost-effective.
The equipment that is used to make this is very different than the equipment used to make this.
Right. So
it's the simple explanation.
Yeah. So we started making the handles in China, and then after we had a rough run of the threading, we decided to make our threading in the United States because it's a very tight tolerance product. It's really hard. There's a whole process that you have to go through to actually get that thread to where we need it. Well, we've gone through that whole process, and we've nailed the threading.
We're a heavy manufacturing city here in Tulsa, so that helps.
So they make the threading here, and then they make the handle overseas, and then the handle and threading right now are welded together in Tulsa, Oklahoma by instructors over at Tulsa Welding School, and that's where they're finished. But I have a manufacturer in China who I've been working with now for about 8 months, he has actually finalized the design in China. And so we will, I think our next run, we've got one more run of them, just the handles, coming to the States that we'll be putting together with our threads. And then our next run of them will be all manufactured in China.
And then who does the etching or the customizations that you guys do?
Oh, that's all me. So like I mentioned earlier, I grew up welding. So my brother, my dad, everyone welds, and I do as well. So when it was time to start looking into, well, who's going to powder coat and who's going to figure out how to etch and do these processes so that we have a customizable product, that was me. So I do all of it.
You mentioned you're trying to get set up on Amazon. So you mentioned you had a few sales through your site. Can you kind of break down what sales channels you have at the moment?
Right now, we are selling, we're selling a few $100s a month via our website, but that's with minimal advertising. We've just done a few Instagram campaigns, some Google AdWords campaigns, really nothing. We just started selling on the website in January. We've also had a number of businesses in the area purchase anywhere from 50 to a few hundred of the handles customized with their logos on them. So we're having a lot of that kind of business in the area. We just got a few types of businesses that have gift shops and souvenir shops. Yeah. So we're getting some folks who are purchasing them to get their organization logo on them and sell them like casinos and hotels and places like that. So they're starting to purchase them too. And but that's primarily regional right now. And then we're hoping, and that's That's just developed in the past month and a half, I'd say.
Yeah, in the local shops, maybe a little bit longer before Christmas. We
Yeah.
have a few local, more artistic, small, just, again, gift-like shops. Boutiques in town that we're selling.
In Tulsa and Oklahoma City.
Mike, I have 100 questions, but I'll let you go for a few.
One of the things I'm thinking of first, just curious, is what is your cost to make this thing? So you said you're selling them for $10. I assume that's the non-customized version. What is the cost to make it currently right now, and then what do you expect it to be when you make it in China?
Well, so right now, all in that whole process that I just described to you, we're actually still coming in at about $3 a handle right now.
Not including packaging, shipping, customization, any of that.
When we take it to scale with our Chinese manufacturer, we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of about $2 a piece, and that's shipped to Tulsa or shipped to an FBA warehouse.
My next question is completely on a different realm here, but I'm just curious. I mean, one of the things I think that's the hardest to do is create a market for a product. I mean, no one's searching it in Amazon right now, mason jar handle, right? That's the hardest thing. So how do you think you can get market awareness for the product to get people to your site and to the actual listing?
I think Instagram has been shockingly effective for getting awareness of the product, because you don't have to describe it. You just put that picture out there and you do a campaign, and we are getting...
If you use the formula, you can get them to come to you without knowing that they want to come to you.
Yeah.
It's what's so interesting about social media in general.
Yeah, and we've, especially with Instagram, being able to just post that photo out there, people see it, they go, wait, what is that? And then the next thing you know, that's actually been a really effective...
Our secret ploy, you don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah, and so you
Right.
want to, so you click it, and then we're getting orders from, actually we've gotten a big increase over the past month in orders from California, and we have a couple hubs where we did our Google AdWord research, and we found where they're doing an inordinate amount of searching for mason jars, and then targeted our Instagram advertising to those areas, and that's proven really effective. So that's part of it, and the other part of it is getting it out there on a platform like JumpSend so that we can start building up reviews. It's surprising. People seem really passionate about the mason jar just as a piece of drinkware. It gets people really excited about it, and they have lots of opinions, and we get lots of... The
long-standing history and function really appeal to people, especially as we're becoming more sustainably focused. And being able to use your mason jars that you bought as a wedding decoration, or for all of the myriad of reasons why you would have mason jars, even if you don't can, and giving that a second purpose, repurposing, upcycling, are so sustainable and for good reason. So it's really appealing to people in that way.
One of the things that you mentioned if you were able to win this competition and take some of that budget towards marketing with like Google AdWords, what do you think, if without doing any research up front or having any data up front of what the results would be, what do you think your initial keyword terms you would be going after would be to get sales?
I built out a pretty robust list, and we are starting to see hits. I mean, specifically mason jar accessories. There are a lot of people who search for that. There are a lot of people who search for mason jar gifts, and there's a little bit of seasonality. I actually started looking at that around Christmas, and you have this big uptick, and then it goes back down again. But those keywords, among others, really focused around different types of accessories. So mason jar lids, cute mason jar things, like those are cute mason jar lids. That was one of them. Mason jar cupcakes. I didn't know that was a thing, but that did appear on our list. So we do have some words that we're starting to target. And as I've only done a few $100s worth of research in that space. Really primarily the free credit that they give you when you get on there for the first time and you start doing your AdWords research.
Right.
But using that and then using some of the other platforms to get keyword suggestions has proven really effective for us to get demographic data and figure out who we need to be,
as well,
figure out who we need to be targeting with our posts.
I have one other question before I toss it back to Greg. I'm just curious, do you think that if you look at your long-term business plan, do you think that it's going to be individuals buying onesies, twosies of the product, or do you see it as a promotional gifts type item that larger companies are customizing? Which one do you think is going to be your bread and butter?
We're really optimistic that it could be both. ease of being able to sell to a big business. We just had an order last week where we sold 300 to a bank out here. And they said, we want them in powder blue, the color of our bank. We want our logo on them. And then half of them we want to get, it's a bank that's in Arkansas and Oklahoma. And they said, and we want to get some that have the Arkansas, like this little Arkansas logo on them. And then the other half, we want to have them with this little Oklahoma logo on them. It's so easy to just mass produce those, crank them all out and get them out into the market. But the customization component is really something that can be done most effectively on the individual level. When you have somebody who buys 100 of them on Amazon and then turns around for their wedding and puts their wedding date on them and the bride and groom's name on them, they can be doing that at the local, at the
There's
individual.
There's no reason they couldn't be doing it just like I've learned it.
Yeah.
So being able to sell those stainless steel blank bear, which is our most popular product, that is the product that people are buying most directly from our website, being able to sell it to individuals, even though the ease of being able to sell to companies in mass 300 at a pop is really appealing, we do still have to customize those. And so having the option also through the website to be able to, or Amazon, to really ramp up those sales of the individual uncustomized pieces, we would. Our intention is definitely to do both, and that's what we're working on now.
How much time do you guys spend on this business right now? It sounds like Gary's saying it sounds like you're still full time in the military. How many hours per week do you think you guys are spending on it?
Well, I am a reservist now, so I moved into the reserves in 2014, and I work for a company here in town. So I would say the time that we spend, and then Shay.
So I am a full-time tailor. I have my own tailoring business. So I sew during the day, actually on the other side of this wall. So I switch back and forth, varying by minute during the day. I do them both.
She has two full-time jobs.
I remember, yesterday I came home from the shop and changed quickly and went to fit a bride. So it's all day, every day.
Covered in powder coat with a respirator, and then she goes and
just trying to wipe it all off before she sees me next to her white pristine dress. So yes, it is exactly what it sounds like.
But I would say we're probably putting in, between the two of us, we're probably putting in about 40 hours to more. 40 hours to more. Because we use the weekends for it too, so at least 40 hours.
Yeah.
It's been it's been our hobby since seeing the kind of success that you can get when you do it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your plan for scalability then? If you were to get an order for 100,000 of these tomorrow, how would you be able to fulfill that?
To answer your question, if we got 100,000 piece order, if they were custom, I think we'd need lots of time to go out and find people to help us do that. But 100,000 stainless steel, if we can be ordering in that quantity, or if we can even be ordering in quantities of more than a couple thousand at a pop, my manufacturer is ready. He is just chomping at the bit and keeps pushing me. Hey, we can do more of these. I'm ready. I'm in this thing for the long run. And I've been working with him on and off now for the better part of 2 years. And he's ready. He's got the tooling is all made. They have a really effective, really quick assembly line. We can get them back to the States in about 6 weeks. So from the time I place my order, shipping by boat, now that we've approved all of our samples and we've done some orders with them, we can get it back to the States in about 6 weeks, finished and ready to go. We just don't have packaging yet. So that's something that we're hoping to establish.
And the $3 that you mentioned as far as your cost right now, does that include any packaging at all? Or is that just for the raw product?
That's no packaging. Yeah, we have a boutique package that we do for the custom orders and for the local retailers, but it's not something that it's more of a craft package. It's not like a mass-produced package. It's stamped by hand. Looks really nice, but our actual design for packaging is going to be something along the lines of a bag, because we're not going to be selling them. Oh yeah, Greg has it.
Yes.
Yeah. So our actual design for the product, for the product package is probably just going to be something more along the lines of the bag, because we don't plan on selling them with the mason jars either. We sell them with the mason jars, but on our Amazon listing, we're not going to be selling them with the jars.
Or customized.
Yeah.
Strictly stainless.
So how many have you guys sold of these to date, would you say?
We're somewhere between 600 and 1,000 right now. And
the website has been up since November.
It's been up since November, but we didn't start advertising, and we didn't start taking orders on the website until January. So I would say in the past 3 months we've more, and that's now just now starting to focus on building up our sales.
You guys have done pretty well for, it sounds like, pretty minimal marketing efforts. So congratulations
so
there.
Far.
Yeah. Tell me more. So you guys were able to, you were awarded a patent for this product, or it's a patent pending, or?
I have 2 patents on it. We were awarded 2 design patents on the product, but we had to get really innovative with our design patent. So I originally applied for a utility patent on the product, and we were hoping that that's what we were going to get. The goal was to get a patent on a thread-on mason jar handle. Well, we applied, and it came back. A thread-on handle was already patented. It was patented in the 1800s, and the utility was a patent for a thread-on handle for a vessel. So the guy who came up with a thread-on handle for a vessel in the 1800s got a patent. That kind of knocked them all out. Which, when you think about it, you talk about Snapchat as a patent.
Yeah.
Boy, that was Snapchat level technology in the 1800s. If you wanted to put a handle on any vessel, you had to go through this guy. I'm surprised he's not more famous, to be honest with you. But so I worked with my lawyer, and what we ended up figuring out was that we could patent. I'll see here. I'm going to show you actually up close on the camera here. So the portion of this, I'm talking with him about the design patent. I say, well, I want to patent this. And he goes, okay, we'll just submit the document for it. And I said, well, what happens if we change right down here? And he says, oh, well, then you're going to need another design patent if we change this and we make it flat. And I said, well, shoot, well, what happens if we remove this component altogether? And he goes, oh, that's another design patent. And he starts racking up all these patents. And I said, well, wait a minute, this is like 10 patents just to cover what I can think of. He goes, yeah. He goes, well, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, I guess that's where we're at. Well, I talked with some friends, some other lawyer friends, and we were able to figure out that the part that we patented to protect this entire design and any other conceptions of it is this area right here. So you see where the threading and the handle actually connect. That's the part that's patented. So everything outside of that can change, but if you want to connect the handle to the threading,
you got to go through us.
Yeah, and so that's the design patent that we came up with, and then we took that and gave it to the University of Pennsylvania Intellectual Property Law Clinic, and they tested it and troubleshot it and tried to figure out some different ways that they could break it, and they came back with an assessment after working on it for about 6 months. They came back with an assessment that it was strong enough that we could actually license the product if we wanted to, because it would be hard to circumvent that patent without having without having a really defensible position.
So what do you guys foresee the next 5 years looking like for you?
Wow. Well, Amazon for sure. That's a huge priority for us. Just because we're seeing the popularity of the stainless steel handle. We're seeing that even though we show the customization on our Instagram and we have color variations on the website, we are presenting all of these different views of our product in different ways. Ultimately, what people are actually buying the most of are the stainless steel. And so knowing that that customization piece is interesting to people, but maybe less important to them than the actual function of the product is one, very exciting, because of course the function is what makes it so interesting and what makes it a new category, as we've talked about, but also that ability then to grow much quicker. Like you said, if somebody put in an order for 100,000, that would be the area that would be able to make that growth in the quickest. Yeah. And so that's definitely our priority in terms of general growth.
Yeah, in terms of the business, I think that's definitely where we're focused. Is just trying to establish that direct-to-consumer market and get this uniform platform that we can reach out to them on, which is the benefit of Amazon. It's just everybody goes there; they're all looking at it. They get the same experience when they go in and they want to order a product, and we'll be ready to. We're already just about ready to scale to meet that level of demand. That high level of demand. So that's the business. I mean, just to give you an idea, I think maybe a little bigger picture too. I'm not sure if that's what you were asking, but we're here in Tulsa. We're from the Northeast. So we were born and raised in Maryland, DC, and
in the Philly area.
Yeah, Philly area. And then we went to school in New York. And when we came out here to the Midwest, we really fell in love with it. And so we've been in the Midwest since 2009, since I got stationed in Oklahoma, between here and Austin and Fort Hood, and so we're pretty big fans, and so we're going to be sticking around in the Tulsa area. We really love it out here, and I think growing our business and then continuing on with my Army Reserve service, and I should make major here in the next year, knock on wood, and keep growing the business and just establishing our roots in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things I'm just taking notes here, one of the things I'm concerned with is I did some research here as we were talking, and you mentioned Amazon being like one of your biggest channels. I have a concern, I've kind of brought this up earlier, just if there isn't a market of people already searching, then you can be on Amazon, but there might not be any buyers there like looking for it. So I was kind of like looking at the plan here of marketing through social media, which you kind of mentioned has had some interesting initial traction. But I worry about the margins with this, like buying it for $3, selling it for $10, that there might not be enough money there left to do advertising. So I'm wondering if you've done any like type of price testing where maybe trying to sell this thing maybe for more like $15 without the customization, and maybe even significantly more for customization, because it seems like the trend in e-commerce and where all the value is in customization. People are willing to pay a lot more for that. So that's a mouthful, but I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we're selling them on the website. We get about half of our orders at $18 a piece. So if you look on our website, people are ordering the jar and the handle for $18. And so they are willing to pay for it. And the margin on that is really great because the jars are cheap. The shipping's tough, but we can see that we have a lot of wiggle room there on the margin where we could actually start increasing the price. And I think as we start to increase our quantity too, our margin is going to get much better because my manufacturer in China has made it very clear that he's ready to scale, and we can probably bring our cost below $2 a piece if we get up into the 3,000 to 4,000 piece order range. So we can come up on price, and I think we can come down on cost, and that's what we found, at least in our 3 months of selling online so far. So we're experiencing some pretty good return on our social media investment, but we're definitely we're netting in the positive after we invest in social media advertising, product manufacturing, and fulfillment. We're still in the positive if we at our current investment rate with our social media plans. That said, I think one of the strengths of this product too is that it has a really good foundation in this customizable mass marketing item space, and so that market for us increases our margin so that we can turn around and use that for getting maybe a little riskier in the individual in the direct to consumer marketing strategy.
You mentioned your social media strategy has been net positive. So like for your most profitable campaign that you've run so far, can you just give me like a high level overview of what you've done exactly, what the targeting's been, and like the success you've seen with it?
The biggest one that we did, which would have been probably maybe like a month ago now.
Yeah.
We invested in the neighborhood. It's not big. It's probably not big compared to what you guys are used to.
Not at all.
But we felt good about it. We invested about.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's all relative. We invested about $50 in a week, And we got a pretty good return on that. I would say that we ended up getting about $120 worth of orders. And so at $120 worth of orders, and like I said, the margins on that are pretty good. So we ended up coming out of that. I was running the numbers, and I think we ended up coming out of that with about $40 of profit.
And what were you just real quick? What were you targeting? Was it just a general targeting, or did you have something like really specific you were targeting?
The nice thing about mason jars is that there are some real pops on the map where you can drill down and
Tennessee, the Carolinas, California.
Yeah. And then some specific cities, and specific areas within those. And we just found that out on the tail end of that, the tail end of that marketing campaign, because I think we did start off, now that I'm thinking about it, I think we did start off national. And then we did a little testing to try to pinpoint a good city or two.
Adjusting
for us.
The age was also really important for us.
Your targeting was mostly geographic and age targeted.
Yes. And now we're going to start getting into interests as well. So,
Mike, after hearing all this, we're about to wrap it up, but do you have a few words of advice of what you'd recommend Garrison and Shay do moving forward?
Yeah, I do. I think this is a great product. I know a lot of friends that would use this. I'm not a mason jar guy myself so much, but I do know a lot of friends that would use it. I think that there's a very specific type of person that, like, you mentioned kind of Tulsa, like that type of area, like, to me is like the kind of area I would imagine using it. I also grew up in Washington, D.C. That's the kind of area I would imagine not really using it. But I think more country type people and folks in that type of area would use it more. I see actually your growth like definitely being more on that social platform type stuff. So targeting, as you mentioned, like different parts of the country, targeting different types of interest groups. Also, I think that like influencer marketing could do really well for you. I think that you have to be thinking on the lines of how are you going to create a market, again, where people aren't already thinking about the product. That's one of the hardest things to do. So I would actually advise, yes, I would have the product on Amazon, because if people hear about it and they want to buy it, you want to make it available for easy purchase to people who already have a Prime account, and not have that barrier to sale, like to try to get them to buy from your website. But I don't think that Amazon inherently is going to be like where your sales are going to come from. Like, again, because Amazon's an intent-based search platform. So people have to be typing in something like mason jar handle for them to find you and then ultimately buy your product. And that isn't I actually looked just out of curiosity, it's not getting any volume. So unless they're searching for like mason jar lids, and you're trying to do ads to them, I don't know that they're going to be cost effective with the margins you have. So I would kind of focus on the social aspect and try to figure out something that can help it go viral. And the last thing I'll mention is I think that this is something that would do really well with a video ad. So, if you were to win this competition, I would probably take a lot of that money and put it into a good video to help that would kind of hopefully go viral. And I think that would be the way that I would go about it. So that's my high-level thoughts after spending the last hour with you guys.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
We have two last questions for you guys to wrap this up. The first one is, any final thoughts on why you should be the ones to win the $10,000 prize?
Guys, we have had the opportunity to go out as a military family and go overseas and come back to the States and fight for the country and really go through that experience, and to come back home and now have the opportunity to secure that, or to secure that American dream that we were going over and sacrificing for and getting to experience firsthand. Now to get to come back to the States and come into the world of commerce and get to try to make something good for our family, so that we can grow our business and hopefully one day have something to pass along to our kids, is just an awesome experience. It's been a lot of fun for us. So if you guys give us that opportunity, we're sure going to make the most of it. And please just know that we will walk through walls for the opportunity to be Jungle Scouts pick. You guys would just make our day and make it possible for us to really grow our business, and we'll do anything for the shot.
And after listening to this, I'm sure a lot of people are curious where they can buy the mason jar handle. Where's the best place for them to find one and purchase it?
That would be themasonjarhandle.com. or at the Mason Jar Handle on Instagram and on Facebook.
Thank you guys very much for your time. I have really enjoyed it. I've loved listening to your story, and I love seeing the enthusiasm that you two have. And best of luck with the Mason Jar Handle.
All right. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Congratulations on making an awesome product, guys. You guys have come a long way. It's hard to come up with a brand new product like that, innovate and all that. I think you guys have done an awesome job, and wish you guys the best of success.
We really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so great. We really appreciate the time.
Thanks for listening to the Go Pitch Win podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear the next great business idea, then make sure to subscribe and join us in the next episode.